Okay, yep, this is our last question of the evening.
Oh, no.
And it deals with immigration.
Are your feet numb yet?
We're talking to Mr. Duray. You'll have this one. You'll have 30 seconds, and here's the question. Without undermining the purpose and intent of the 14th Amendment, how can America best address illegal immigration, anchor babies, and the cost to society and the national threat associated with having porous borders?
I think this can be very simple. Secure our borders. If Federal Express can send a package and you can track it anywhere in the world, send it to wherever there are illegals and you'll find them very quickly. But third, any employer who is hiring illegals, the penalty should be high, because that way they will not be hired and will go back. And we need to protect our borders and uphold the rule of law. Without the rule of law, our country collapses. And we have allowed a whole group of people to come to our country improperly and illegally, and that has to change, and change now.
I say secure the borders, but one of the biggest things we have to do is we have to eliminate federal benefits to illegal aliens. If we find them illegal, they're illegal. What part of illegal don't you understand? They should be deported. If they come back a second time, they should go to a prison, but it shouldn't be a country club prison. It should be like a tent city that Sheriff Joe has down in Arizona.
The problem is not immigrants. The problem is the government. The government provides an incentive for people who are not wanting to work, who want to leech out the system to come here by providing those benefits. The government has created a war on drugs whereby it becomes profitable for criminal organizations that make the borders into a battleground. We need to change both those policies. Then, the only immigrants who will be attracting are people who want to work hard, like you and I, contribute to the economy and make money. And yes, meanwhile, we need to enforce the laws.
It's just illogical. I was a prosecutor, as a judge. You have laws on the books. You got to enforce them. I mean, that's very simple. Illegal is illegal. Now, having said that, I'm totally in favor of legal immigration. We need to clarify what legal is. And for someone to legally come here, they have to have at least a basic knowledge of the English language. And they need to take a test on our constitutional system in English and pass it to be able to become a citizen. So these are all requirements that I would have. Mr. Glenn?
All those things they said about securing the border and removing the federal incentives and enforcing the law, do away with anchor babies. I'd vote for an amendment to make English the official language of the United States. But as far back as when Jefferson sent the Marines to Tripoli, part of being a proud American meant you don't mess with America. And it infuriates me that farmers and ranchers in southern Arizona, in the soil of the United States of America, are not safe in their persons and property. And whatever we need to do to make them safe, that's what we have to do.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We're not ready now for our closing statements. And this time we're going to begin with the audience's right, and we're just going to go to the left to Mr. Konetsky and so on, all the way to our left. Beginning on our right, Mr. Vogel.
Well,
2 minutes.
Yes. What I'd like you to do, just for a minute, and talking about myself and my opinions, is just, in your own mind, envision something someone else does that does not cause you to lose any money, does not cause a threat of violence to you, but it disgusts you and you either think it should be illegal or you're happy it is. And the next thing I want you to do, and it's going to be different from everyone, we all have our own feelings, our own opinions. Think about something you feel you have a right to do, freedom that you cherish, that you feel you have a right to do, that you do not believe the government has a right to touch, whether it be legal or illegal. And then ask yourself whether you would be willing to trade the restraints against a person, preventing them from doing something that you find offensive, in exchange for you having secured your right to do whatever it is you were just picturing that is so critical and important that you think the government under no circumstances has the right to intrude on. And if you can envision making that trade, then you're the person that would support me. And I'm Scotty Bowman. Find out more at bowman12.org.
The words Kenichi. K-O-N-E-T-C-H-Y. Kenichi. First, my wife came from Russia. She came from Russia about 20 years ago. She is a legal immigrant. She did everything Randy said already. She learned English. She had a Constitution course. She knows more about the Constitution, I'm sure, than most of the seniors that graduate from high school. So she's acclimated. She cherishes everything about America. That's how legal immigration should be, and it's good. I happen to think the United States is by far the best nation in the world, and I know it's the best nation in the world because we have an extremely limited federal government, theoretically. That's how it was set up. That's how it was bequeathed to us. But we don't have a limited government anymore. It's totally ignoring every aspect of the Constitution. And if we get someone in office who is just going to support the status quo, perhaps, keep spending at 18%, 20% of gross domestic product, we're still going to lose our nation. The only way we're ever going to remain a free nation is if we look at our unpleasant spending blip that's happened over the last 60 or 70 years, and if we reduce it. We have to get the government out of our lives totally. We have to go back to the plan I told you, that's a simple catchphrase, 1819, but we have to go through and limit the federal government to its constitutional duties and nothing else, and then we'll be a free nation again. Every single problem facing the United States today is a direct result of the federal government interfering in society, and that has to stop. I mean, you don't need, when the federal government was established, as you mentioned in one of your questions earlier, we received all the funding for the federal government through duties, excises, and tariffs, and apportionment. And it worked well for 150 years. The only reason we have any sort of direct tax against the individual right now is to fund unconstitutional programs. And the government screws up everything it's involved in. It's destroyed education, it destroyed the moral fabric of the nation through the safety net, it's destroyed our Department of Energy, it's just terrible. I have all these positions on my website, www.peterkenichi.com. Please look at them, and I'd appreciate your support if you agree with my positions. Thank you.